When you look at Oisin, you see a really happy, bubbly, quite confident child. But what you don't see is the struggles behind all of that, or what we've had to do to get him to that point. When we got the diagnosis, it was a mixture of feelings. Like, there was a huge sadness that I had, because I suppose I didn't want my son to have a label. I think I was just scared because I didn't know how to move forward with a child on the spectrum. From the minute he opens his eyes, it's, I don't want this, I don't want that, I can't, and it's screaming, and to the point that, like, a 7-year-old, we'd have to dress him to get him to get out the door. When he's that escalated, sometimes there's nothing you can do than just sit there and be with him. There's a certain guilt as well that you have, because you question yourself as a parent, like, am I a good parent? Like, I can't help my child. We couldn't go into certain shops, and he'd have his hands over his eyes because the lights were too bright, or his hands over his ears because it was too loud in the shop. He had a couple of words and then stopped talking. So he had mama, dada, the usual ones, and then completely stopped talking. We hadn't a clue how to bring on his speech. Without the Autism Association, I dread to think where we would be.
So Oisin is an amazing example of why early intervention services are so important for children on the spectrum. You can just look at the amount of progress that he has had over the course of his therapy with us. Starting back when he was 4 years old to now, we can just see an incredible amount of change in those life skills, such as communication, such as social interaction, such as his gross motor development. Also looking at his emotional awareness and sensory processing and regulation.
For us, our main support is, other than our family, is the Autism Association, because they've given us the tools to be able to handle these situations.
I guess I like to look at early intervention as a stepping stone. We are wanting to be able to give him the most independence that we can, moving into that adult life to live the most fulfilling, happy life that he can.
We often talk about, what if we hadn't had early intervention? We never would have known how amazing he could be, or the potential that he could have.
His strengths are his passions and the way he speaks about them.
He loves space. He knew, by about 3, he knew all the planets.
He just, like I said, blows my mind with how far he's come.
He adores surfing, and he gets so excited, to go. And for a while, we didn't have that. We didn't have that thing. And then when we found surfing, it was like, oh my goodness, we found it. We found his niche.
He talks about being in the water, being out there on his surfboard, standing up on the wave. And I just think that is so important for him.
Autism is an invisible disability, and I think if there was just more awareness and more understanding from people and kids, and especially adults, it would be a much happier space, because this world isn't built for kids on the spectrum, is it? And we need to help it be everyone's world, and not just what society sees as normal. It's the world for everyone.